Hi everyone, welcome to my Whiskey Wednesdays channel. My name is Daryl Lynn and I'm your host. This week we're tasting the Kavalan Solist limited edition peated whiskey from the award-winning King Car Kavalan Distillery in Taiwan. I was first introduced to Kavalan whiskeys about 5 years ago by a friend in Singapore and I was immediately mesmerized. If you did a blind tasting, you would think that this was a top-tier Scotch from the Scottish Highlands. The Kavalan Solist peated whiskey is unique because it is matured in casks that previously contained matured whiskey. So the result is an extra smokiness and earthiness to its flavor. It has a strength of 55.6% ABV, and I would say it delivers a good punch. You can tell the richness from its cognac color. And now, let us taste the Kavalan Solist peated whiskey. I like to break down my tasting notes into 4 parts: the nose, the palate, the finish, and the pairing. Let's start with the nose. You can definitely smell the cinnamon spice, the tropical fruits, vanilla, and perhaps some honey. That's where the sweetness comes in. One thing that is definitely unmistakable is you can smell the smoke. It invades your nostrils right away. There is no mistaking that you are about to taste a peated whiskey. And now for the second tasting note, the palate. And what I like to do for this part is I would take a small sip of the whiskey, let it roll around my palate and my tongue and my mouth and coat that. And give it about probably 20-30 seconds. Once it's fully around your palate, then you take a swallow. And just before doing that, take a small deep breath, and I'm going to blow out like a dragon blowing fire while tasting on your palate. And I want you to detect and remember those flavors. Oh, what do you taste? I taste coconut, vanilla, a little bit of butterscotch, a little sweetness to it because of its high ABV, the richness. For sure, like I mentioned before, you can taste the smokiness in its flavor. It instantly coats your palate and gives you that creamy vanilla taste. Again, there's no mistaking that this is a peated whiskey. And now for the third tasting note. To enjoy the finish, what I like to do is, instead of letting it roll around your palate, you're going to take a small sip, deep breath, and immediately swallow that, let it go right down your esophagus, and again, repeat the dragon blowing out of your nose while tasting your palate. And I want you to tell me how long that lingers. Now, do you notice that you may taste slightly different hints, flavors? What is true is that this is a medium bowl whiskey with a long finish. And what a long finish means is that the whiskey doesn't dissipate right away once you've swallowed it. You can almost taste the lingering, it lingers on your tongue and your palate. To tell the finish can be both a taste, but for me, what I like to also do is, for this whiskey in particular, I like to roll that around almost like I'm tasting wine. And you'll see that those long licks that come down on the side of the glass indicates the long finish. For the finish, this is definitely a medium bold whiskey with a long finish. It leaves a lingering smokiness with that creamy vanilla texture, as well as, I'd say, a mix of Asian spiciness and like tropical fruitiness to it on your mouth and your palate. And the flavors don't dissipate right away, and hence why I say it's a long finish. If you enjoy the taste of smokiness on your palate, then this is going to be the perfect whiskey for you. And for the fourth tasting note, for the pairing, Well, I paired this with my keto-friendly dry coconut chips, and it was a perfect combination. If you're also a cigar aficionado, then I would say having a very peated and rich whiskey such as this Kavalan Solist, along with a Cuban cigar, would be the perfect combination. This whiskey, unfortunately, is not available in Ontario at the LCBO. I actually purchased this along with a few other friends from prestigewines.ca, and they had this couriered to me within about 2 weeks. The value or the cost of this bottle, because it's a limited edition celebrating the Year of the Rat, this Kavalan Solist was $350 Canadian. But I think you'll agree with me that it is absolutely value for money. With the high ABV and the richness to it, it is a beautiful drink. And like I said, if you had done this as a blind tasting, you would probably not tell the difference between the Kavalan Solist peated whiskey and an equivalent top-tier whiskey from the Scottish Highlands. And this brings us to the end of this week's whiskey tasting. Join me next week as we showcase the Kavalan Single Malt Whiskey Oloroso Sherry Oak, another one of my Kavalan collections. And don't forget to like and share these posts. And I always welcome your feedback on how I can make these whiskey reviews even better. Until next week, Sláinte.